Hi guys, it's Jack from JRP Custom Painted Furniture. Welcome to my channel, and for those of you who have already subscribed, welcome back. This is this week's project. 2 bedside tables. They're in pretty good condition actually. They're covered in chalk paint, which is not my favourite, but that's okay. Except for one little spot. That spot. Now, it looks like the previous owner's puppy dog has chewed away on the corner of this and gnawed it back to nothing. So, before we begin, let's start with the hardware. Now, I had it in my mind that I was going to sand back the tops of these 2 dresses to raw. So I got out my orbital sander. I've got 100 grit sandpaper on it. And I've got my little detail sander, some extra sanding pads, and I'm going for it. I'm sanding away, not paying any attention. It's a beautiful day. The puppy dogs are around me. Everything's going fine. Sanding away. Still sanding. Still sanding. Still sanding. And it's coming up really well. As you can see, it absolutely looks fabulous. It's a great colour. The wood grain's beautiful. I was really happy with it. And then it occurred to me, oh my God, I forgot about the second bedside dresser. What a waste of time. That's okay. Now we're going to have to fix that. So there goes the idea for raw wood tops. Now I'm starting by putting some nails in the corner piece. They're going to act as an anchor for the bog. What we're doing now with our hot glue gun is creating a mould. So use your hot glue gun, go to a good corner of the unit and just place the hot glue over the top like so. And then when you take it off, there's the mould for the damaged piece. So it can be a little bit difficult to get off at times, but it works. So I'm using Builder's Bog. Now this is the same as Bondo for all my international followers. It works exactly the same. You've got a hardener, you mix it up. You've got a short amount of time only to apply it because it will get hard within around about 5 minutes. So only use what you need, and you can always mix up more if you need more. So here I'm applying the bog into the mould, and then I'm going to apply the mould to the corner of the unit. I'm just going around with the remaining bog to use it up, just for the extra little chew marks around the top of the unit. So once you've got it in place, put some masking tape on it and that will hold it until it's dry. Now we can take the masking tape off and take the mould off, and it should give you a basic detail of what the corner is meant to look like. So then, obviously, sand away. Grab your orbital sander, grab your detail sander and some sanding pads, and then start moulding the side of the unit to the detail on the unit. So I'm using once again my orbital sander with 100 grit, and I've got a little detail sander that I'm going to use as well just to get the corners right. Here I'm adding a little bit more of the Builder's Bog just because there was a couple of little air pockets in the original batch and we just needed to fill them to make it smooth. This is my little handheld detail sander. It helps me get right into the corners. Sanding the drawers now, I've got my orbital sander back on with 100 grit sandpaper, and all I'm trying to do is reduce the amount of chalk paint there is on the top and reduce the amount of brush strokes that there are in the chalk paint, just so it's nice and smooth, so that we've got a clean surface for our primer to adhere to. I've now grabbed my detail sander. I think some people call this a mouse sander. I call it a detail sander. I believe it's the same thing, but there's a lot of little details on the side of this unit. So I wanted to use the detail sander to get right into the corners of this. The orbital sander just wouldn't have gotten there with its rounded edges. It's prime time! I'm using the Bin Zinsser water-based primer. I find this primer has really good coverage and adheres really well to whatever you're putting it on. I'm using my Wagner spray gun. Now, if you're ever thinking of going across from roller and paintbrush to a spray gun, I highly recommend it. Not only does it cut your job in half, if not less, it is just so much fun to use. Let's speed this up a little bit now so you can see the whole unit being primed. Bye-bye to that raw top. It looked good while it lasted, but let's cover it up and see what we're going to do with it now. Here's the first coat of colour. I'm using a beautiful cream for this project. This is actually a mixture of all the creams that I had left over. I had little bits and pieces of all different types of creams. So I've put them all together and I've created this cream colour, and it's actually quite lovely. So I do this quite frequently when I have little pieces of or little amounts of paint left that I'm never going to finish one project with. I like to keep them and then I create something with them. I just don't like wasting paints. While you're watching this, guys, if you could please subscribe to my channel and please like this video. Every little bit counts. And if you have any questions at all or any comments, please ask, because I really want to be able to interact with you more. And I appreciate all the feedback that you're giving me in my other videos. Now, while I was painting, I had an idea that I missed the raw top. So why don't we try a faux wood top? I've got my little applicator, which allows me to add the grain to the top. And I'm actually just using like a greyish brown because I didn't want a really warm top, but I also wanted it visible. So I've decided to go with a darker colour. I'm not too sure whether it's too dark yet. We'll wait and see. But it's looking fantastic, and these little applicators are great. You can order them online. So if you're interested in something like that, jump on Amazon. I know they have them on Amazon, and you'll be able to get one from there. Yes, it's dark, I know, but we're going to lighten it up with some paint washing. I must admit though, I'm pretty happy with it. The grey looks fantastic. So while that's drying, we're going to move on to filling the hardware holes. Now I'm using Timbermate wood filler, and I'm just going to fill up the holes on this unit and any other little imperfections that I come across. It's actually quite a nice day today, so the Timbermate didn't take too long to actually dry. So we're sanding that now and we're moving on to a second coat of colour for our units. So now I've decided I'm going to whitewash the top. We want to reduce the heaviness of this grain and just give it a more subtle look. I've grabbed the same cream that I used on the side of the units and I've diluted it by about 50% with water. I'm just using a normal paintbrush now and I'm just painting the diluted mixture onto the top. Now I'm in no rush to get this off because I do want to get it as light as I can with just a hint of grain. So I'm leaving it there and just painting the whole unit before I wipe it back with a clean cloth. So this is just a microfiber cloth and I'm just wiping away the excess from the paint wash. Now as you can see, it has lightened it, but it's not as light as I'm hoping for. So we might have to do a couple of extra coats. Now the good thing with paint washing is you can do as many coats as you want to until you reach your desired colour. I'm going to do exactly the same to the second unit. And this is actually really good because any imperfections that you have on the top of the unit are actually hidden by the new grain. So it's worked out well. So we're going in for a second round now of paint washing to get it even lighter. And we're going in for a third round. Hopefully this will get it a little bit lighter. We've actually gone and done another coat after this, but this is what we're finished with at the moment. See how I've just got a hint of the grain? It's what I wanted, but I found it to be too grey. So what I'm doing is I'm actually adding a very light brown stain to the top. Now this is bringing out the cream, but it's also bringing out the grain as well. I'm just touching up the top of the units here because I got a little bit of stain on it and I wanted to make sure that it was completely covered. So I'm just giving them another quick coat. But look at that. It's actually turned out fantastic. You can't even see the repair work that I've done on the side of it. It's so good. So now that I'm happy with what I've done so far, I'm top coating everything using the Bondel Monocell water-based clear varnish in satin. Moving on to the hardware, I'm using Silver Moon hardware here and I'm using my hole punch jig. Now I've spoken about this piece of equipment a lot in previous videos. It is so good and allows you to replicate each hole perfectly. Here I'm using my bolt cutters because the screws I was using were just that little bit too long. That way I can cut them down and they'll be a perfect fit. Once again, I've moved the hole punch jig to the next unit and I'm just replicating exactly the same holes on each drawer. Now, do you remember what these units looked like beforehand? They were in pretty good shape except for one spot. That. So after some repair work, this is what we're finished with. I am so happy with the outcome. The faux wood top looks amazing. The Silver Moon hardware fits in perfectly. The cream is just creamy. It's beautiful. Overall, I'm really happy with the project. So thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Catch you next time.